right? And so I didn't see the need for this religion. And if you don't need religion, why do you need God? Like, everything I need is, I have my friends, you can have popularity, you can have whatever you want, you need a job, you need money in life. These are the things you need. Why do you need to go pray? Why do you need to do all, so that stuff became more and more irrelevant. And then the tip of the iceberg was first semester of college, I took Philosophy 101. And it was 2 courses I took, Philosophy of Ethics and Metaphysics. So in metaphysics, it's...
Sorry, Ustaz Norman. So college is at university?
It's so 12th grade is high school.
Right.
And then right after that you start college.
College.
Yeah.
So you like university?
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we in America, we kind of use it interchangeably a little bit.
Sorry if other people know, I'm not very in tune.
It's all good. So what happened in philosophy class, I loved it. I loved Plato, Aristotle. I loved, I really got into logic and, even religious philosophies and things like that. And then the arguments for the teleological, cosmological, ontological arguments for the existence of God and the counter arguments against them. I was fascinated with that stuff. And at the end of it, I was like, you know what? For every logical argument, there's a logical counter argument for the existence of God. So this is a stalemate. So you get to choose. That's kind of where my professor sort of left it. And then to add to that, I was taking another course called Philosophy of Ethics. And to summarize it, the point of the Philosophy of Ethics course is there is no such thing as right and wrong. It's just whatever you feel. So رَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ is the final conclusion to that, And that's really comforting for someone who doesn't want to surrender themselves. Because now I'm the...
أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ in English?
Yeah, so have you seen someone who takes their whims and turns them into their God, right? So you become the God. Why do you need to have a higher power? You decide, So in that sense, it felt artificially liberating to be an atheist. And because, I'm in New York, and then my parents, my dad got papers to go back to Pakistan. And he was going to leave in 6 months, right? And I was really excited that he's going to leave in 6 months. Because I was going to stay back in uni. And now I don't have any parents controlling what I'm going to do. I don't have, nobody's going to watch over, I'm going to have complete freedom, right? And in New York, of all places. So this is going to be great, And then Allah had other plans, and He sort of redirected my thoughts and I think my first transformation wasn't intellectual, it was emotional. And then my second transformation was intellectual. So it worked in reverse order.
Any emotional, in what sense? Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, so I saw a dream. That was probably the big event. I saw a dream. I had snuck out of the house. My parents were upstairs. In New York, we have basements. You guys have basements here? Okay, so
not too many, but we do have.
Okay, so our home in Queens, we had a basement. So my room was in the basement. Also because my sister didn't want to be in the basement, and then I get the basement because it gets flooded. So, but I was okay with it. So the advantage of it was it had its own back door exit out of the house. So I could sneak out of the house from the basement and nobody would know. So I snuck out of the house, went to this party with my Hindu friend, hung out with him until 3 a.m, snuck back into the house. Dad never found out. Now they're going to watch this video. But anyway, I get back and I fall asleep, safe and sound. And I see myself in a dream, in my own grave. And my head has been turned into a lizard's head. And there's fire pouring out from both sides, like multiple faucets just pouring out fire like water from both sides. And there's somebody over the grave saying, "This is because you don't pray." And I woke up like that. And by this point, it must have been a couple of years I hadn't prayed anything. No Jumu'ah, no Eid, no nothing. Right? And this is before my parents left. So now I get up and I prayed. I don't even know. I knew there are 5 prayers, but I didn't quite remember how they work. So I prayed some version of Isha, followed by some version of Maghrib, followed by some version of, in succession. And
Sorry, so you didn't grow up in a family environment where they taught you how to pray from a
They
young
did,
age,
but it had been so long since I prayed that
you had forgotten it.
I've forgotten it.
That's it.
Yeah. And then I was in sajda and I started crying. And I kept on crying. And then I fell asleep crying.
Is this still in the dream?
No.
No,
this was in real life. So I fell asleep crying. I woke up the next morning in sajda. And something in me just kind of got shaken up. And the first thing I decided to do, because I was going to go to meet with my friends the next day. Like, nothing in my outside world has changed. Something crazy has happened inside, but nothing outside is different, right? My friends are like, hey, you want to go get some pizza? No, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I start pulling away from all of my social acquaintances, right? And they start noticing, you okay? You all right? Is everything okay? And then I felt the need to pray. So I started finding corners in the campus in college to pray.
Ustaz Nauman, why did you feel the need to pull away from them? Why couldn't you just be friends with them and then in your spare time?
I think if I'm being super honest, I could sense the darkness from their company. Like ever since that dream, you could almost feel a darkness.
Would it be right to say that you feared that if you mix with them again, you're going to lose that lovely, it was kind of a bittersweet feeling that you had, but there was something.
I was actually terrified of losing it.
Terrified of losing it.
I was terrified of losing it. That's probably how I'd describe it. And so I started kind of pulling away from them, and then Allah just opened other doors for me. I met some people in campus that I became friends with Muslims, and that was a strange story by itself, but the people I met, they were good brothers, really good brothers, but they weren't preachy. Like they didn't ever make any da'wah to me or anything. And they saw me praying correctly, and they didn't really make a thing out of it, right? And one of them, he decided to kind of start giving me a ride, and he took me to other MSAs. So we were in the city school. So
just MSAs for
Muslim Students Association.
Yeah, Muslim School Association.
So we were in the Muslim club in our college, in Baruch College, and ours was a city school. So the city college or city university, it's cheap. It's like $1,600 a semester was considered cheap, and I think it's much more now. But just up the road in the city, uptown, was Columbia University, which is like $20,000 a semester, which is now probably $50,000. I don't even know how expensive they are now. But they had an MSA, and they were having a meeting. And the guys, my friend said, let's go to their meeting. I was like, rich school meeting? Yeah, let's go. Because that's too rich for my blood. I can get inside there and see what it's like. So we go in there, and there's a circle of brothers and sisters, like a half circle of sisters, half circle of brothers. And they're discussing how they're going to raise enough money. And they have a poster of a child in the middle, because there was some flood that had happened in Bangladesh. And they had arranged for different children to be adopted by Muslim families in America that were left orphans. And they had identified a child that their MSA was going to help adopt and come up with the funds for his paperwork. And I'm sitting there listening to these people that are...
Is this the first experience for you in your life to see something like that, where people are actually trying to make projects to help people outside?
Like
first time.
It's not just first time to see that. It's these people are my age. Like everybody I knew until now was, you want to go play basketball, you want to get some pizza, you want to go watch a movie, you want to go do something stupid. Like this was life.
And did you think at that time that religion was kind of for older people? Only older people do stuff like that?
Yeah.
There's still time to
In fact, I never even thought about stuff like that. My universe wasn't that big. It was a very small world in my head. And then I'm thinking, what makes these people even think like this? Like, what's in their food? Like, why are they're so much better, they're much better human beings than I ever thought I could be. What is it about them, right? And it was my friend who took me there, didn't say anything on the way back. He's like, what did you think? I was like, I don't know. That was weird. I was like, what was weird about it? Tell me what was weird. I was like, these people are so awesome. He goes, yeah, I know. You want to go somewhere else that's awesome? I was like, okay, yeah. So what he did for me is he introduced me to a masjid in Queens, in Flushing, in Ramadan. He took me to a program. Because he knew I had learned English, but my native language is still Urdu, right? So English is my second language. Technically my third, but still my second language. And there was a scholar coming from Pakistan who was going to do a dawrah of the Quran in Ramadan. So they were going to do 20 taraweeh and like 4 rak'ah, then 4 rak'ah of a translation of what we just recited and a brief explanation for an hour. Then the next 4 rak'ah, then the next 4 rak'ah. So until 2:30 a.m. We're going to go through all of first juz, then the next night second, next night third, 30 nights the entire Quran.
You took part in that?
So he brought me to that.
Okay. That's in the deep end.
That's on the deep end. And before that I had read maybe a little bit of the Yusuf Ali translation of the Quran, and I found it extremely difficult. And I just put it down. I was like, I can't, I'm trying to make sense of this, I can't. So I go to this thing, and he's the teacher, he doesn't know who I am. There's like 50, 60 people in the program. For the people that wanted to make the regular Taraweeh, they were on the second floor, and the people that wanted to do this like crazy 4 and 4 and 4 with the whole tafsir, mukhtasar, the brief commentary, they were on the third floor. It was a special room for them, because the other people just want to do their thing and get out, right? So they had two parallel things going on. So I go up there, I start listening to him talk. For a good hour, he's just explaining this portion of the Quran. And he's just, he's mostly, 90% he's translating, maybe 10% of the time he'll throw in a comment here and there, but he's mostly translating. And it didn't feel like he was reading a translation, he was speaking a translation, right? It sounded like a conversation. And listening to that long enough, it stopped feeling like he's there. It just started feeling to me like Allah is communicating, and I'm just hearing Allah say stuff. I'm listening to Allah's words. And it was the most surreal experience. Like it just, Allah is conversing with us? I thought it's a book. I didn't think it was a conversation.
Do you think that was your inspiration?
Absolutely.
Because you do that now.
Yeah.
Do you realize you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was it.
So you realize?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I thought we discovered something. All right. Alhamdulillah,
I discovered it a little bit earlier.
Amazing, amazing.